A very good morning, students. Welcome to science session for class 10, and today in this session we are going to see unit 13, structural organization of animals. Now here in this lesson we are going to see the morphology and the anatomy of the leech and the rabbit, and again here we are going to see the different system, that is the digestive system, respiratory system, excretory system. A very good morning, students. Welcome to science session for class 10, and today in this session we are going to see unit 13, structural organization of animals. Now here in this lesson we are going to see the morphology and the anatomy of the leech and the rabbit, and again here we are going to see the different system, that is the digestive system, respiratory system, excretory system, reproductive system, circulatory system, and nervous system for both leech and the rabbit. Let's go into the session, children. In the lower classes, we have learnt about the animal kingdom, isn't it? This animal kingdom is divided into vertebrates and chordata. Here we are going to see the external morphology and the anatomy of the invertebrate, that is leech, and vertebrate, that is chordata, rabbit. Now look into the picture, children. Here we are going to see the internal structure and the morphology of the Indian cattle leech, now which is nothing but the Hirutineria granulosa, which is the scientific name. Now the phylum, here the taxonomy is given, isn't it? The taxonomic position is given because it is placed in the classification of the animal kingdom, isn't it? Now here this Hirutineria granulosa, which is nothing but the cattle leech, now comes under the phylum Annelida. And if you see the class, it is the Hirutinia, and the order is Gnathobdelida, and genus is Hirutineria, and species is Granulosa. So it is called as the Hirutineria granulosa. And now here the phylum Annelida, if you see, it is metamerically segmented worms because it is segmented, the whole body is segmented, and here it has the well developed organ system. Look into the picture, children. Here you can see the external morphology of the leech, which has the dorsal view and the ventral view. A is the dorsal view and B is the ventral view. Now we will see the habitat, the place in which they live. They live in the freshwater lakes, ponds, etc. And these are called as ectoparasite, in the sense they feed on the bloods of fish, frogs, cattle, etc. And this is also called as sanguivorous, in the sense blood sucking in nature. Now when you see the shape and the size of the leech, it is soft, it is elongated and segmented. Now in the picture it is very clear, isn't it? It is segmented and it becomes a ribbon shaped when extended. When it is extended, it becomes a ribbon shape and almost cylindrical when it contracts, right? And this leech can grow up to 35 centimeter, and the color will be orange yellow or orange red in color. Now the segmented of the body of the leech is called as metamerism. Questions on metamerism is often asked in few question paper, children. The question may be this way: segmentation of the leech is known as dash. The answer will be metamerism. Now this leech is divided into 33 segments, and each segment is further divided into rings or annuli. Now there are two receptors that is found. One is the annular receptor that is located in each annulus, and the segmental receptors that is located on each segment. Now there are 5 pairs of eyes on first 5 segments. Here you can see in the picture the first 5 segments are marked, isn't it? So 5 pairs of eyes are located in the first 5 segments. Next is the suckers. Now suckers, there are 2 suckers in the leech. One is the anterior sucker, the other one is the posterior sucker. The anterior sucker is located in the first 5 segments and the posterior sucker is located in the last 5 segments. And these suckers are helpful in locomotion and also in feeding. There are some external apertures in the leech. The first one is the mouth. The mouth is located in the anterior sucker. Now in the picture B, you can find at the top it is written as the mouth and the anterior sucker, isn't it? So in the middle of the anterior sucker is the mouth aperture. The next one is the anus. You can see at the posterior sucker, isn't it? So this small aperture, this is found on the 26th segment. The next one is the nephridiopores. Now this nephridiopores is present on each segment from 6 to 22. So there are 17 pairs of nephridiopores. Now next is the male genital pore. Since the leech is hermaphrodite, it consists of male genital pore and the female genital pore, and the male genital pore is found between the second and the third annuli of the 10th segment, and the female genital pore is between the second and the third annuli of the 11th segment. Now if you see the body wall, now this has the cuticle, that is the outermost layer, the waxy, moist, slimy layer, isn't it? Then next comes the epidermis, which lies below the cuticle. Then next is the dermis, which lies below the epidermis, and these are formed by the connective tissues. Next comes the muscular layer. When you see the locomotion in leech, it is the looping or the crawling movement. The other one is the swimming movement. Now in the looping movement or the crawling movement, both the suckers helps in the movement. Now here the contraction and the relaxation of the muscles takes place. So the two suckers serves for the attachment during the movement from one place to another. The next one is the swimming movement, in which it performs while it is moving in water. Next comes the digestive system of the leech. Now this digestive system consists of the alimentary canal and the digestive glands. Now first we'll see what is alimentary canal. Now here this alimentary canal runs from mouth to the jaws. Right, this mouth is an triradiated aperture. Now you can see the shape, it will be like an triangular shape, right? This mouth at the middle of the anterior sucker, and this leads to the small buccal cavity. Now this consists of 3 jaws. The walls of the buccal cavity consist of 3 jaws with single row minute teeth, very small teeth, right? And here the mouth and the buccal cavity occupies the first 5 segments. Now buccal cavity consists of the salivary glands which secrete saliva, and this saliva contains hirudin, and this prevents the coagulation of the blood or the clotting of blood. This buccal cavity leads to the muscular pharynx, isn't it? Now this pharynx leads to the esophagus, and the esophagus into the crop, which is the largest portion of the alimentary canal. This crop consists of 10 chambers, and this 10 chambers has an blind outgrowth backwardly, so that is called as diverticulate. Now here you can see it is labeled as crop diverticulate, isn't it? So this is where the large amount of the blood is stored, which can be slowly digested later. So the crop and the diverticulate helps in the storage of the blood. Now the last chamber of the this crop opens into the stomach, and the stomach leads into the intestine, and after digestion it opens into the rectum, and rectum opens into the anus. Now this is about the alimentary canal. Now let's see the feeding and digestion. The leech attached to the host by the posterior sucker, and it leaves an Y-shaped incision in the host because it has 3 jaws, and the blood is sucked by the muscular pharynx, and the saliva secretes a protein which is called as the hirudin, which prevents the blood from clotting, and it also injects an anesthetic substance which prevents the host from feeling their bite. Blood then passes through the crop, then into the stomach. In the stomach, the digestion takes place by the action of proteolytic enzyme. The digested food is absorbed by the intestine and the undigested food is stored in the rectum, then excreted through anus. Next is the respiratory system. Here the respiration takes place through the skin, and the skin consists of very tiny blood vessels, and these tiny blood vessels are called as capillaries, and this contains hemophilic fluid. Change of the gases takes place by diffusion. The oxygen that is present in the water diffuses through the skin into the hemophilic fluid, and the carbon dioxide diffuses out through the skin. The skin will be moist, slimy due to the secretion of the mucus, and this mucus prevents the skin from drying. Now next is the circulatory system in leech, and this circulatory system in the leech is by the hemophilic system, and there are no blood vessels in the hemophilic system, but it consists of the hemophilic channels or the canals, and this consists of hemophilic fluid, and this fluid contains hemoglobin. Now I said that the hemophilic channels are present, isn't it? So there are 4 hemophilic channels. One lie below the alimentary canal, the other above the alimentary canal, and the other 2 lies on either side of the alimentary canal. These hemophilic channels or the canal serves as an heart, and this also consists of inner valves, and all these 4 channels are connected together in the 26th segment. And the next comes the nervous system of the leech. Now this nervous system, that is the central nervous system of the leech, has 2 parts. One is the nerve ring, the other one is the ventral nerve cord. Now here in the picture you can see the brain that is located at the top, isn't it, anterior end. Now here you have an cord like structure which connects the ganglion, isn't it? You can see the round structures which is labeled as ganglion and the ventral nerve cord, isn't it? So it consists of the nerve ring and the ventral nerve cord. This nerve ring is surrounded by pharynx, and this is formed by 3 portions. One is the suprapharyngeal ganglion, that is the brain, which is located at the top. You can see it is marked or labeled as brain. The other one is the circumpharyngeal connective, and the other one is the subpharyngeal ganglion, which is marked, which is labeled as ganglion, isn't it? Now this subpharyngeal ganglion lies below the pharynx, and this is formed by the fusion of 4 pairs of ganglia. Next is the excretory system in leech, and this is carried by a tubule which is called as the nephridia, and there are 17 pairs of nephridia, and this consists of nephridiopores from the 6th segment to the 22nd segment. Next is the reproductive system in leech. Now since leech is hermaphrodite, it consists of both the male and the female reproductive organ in the same animal. Now we'll see what is the male reproductive system. Now this consists of 11 pairs of testes, and each pair in each segment from 12 to 22. From 12 to 22 segments, each pair of testes is present, and these are surrounded by the spherical sacs which is called as the testis sac. Here in the picture you can see, isn't it, the testis sacs, and each testis give rise to a short duct. A small duct arises from the testis, and this is called as vas efferens, and this leads to vas deferens, and this vas deferens consists of epididymis, which is nothing but the sperm vesicle to store the sperms. This epididymis leads to again a short duct which is called as the ejaculationary duct, and this leads to or joins the atrium. Here you can see it is labeled as atrium, isn't it? So this joins the atrium, gets connected to the atrium, and this atrium consists of 2 regions. One is the prostate gland, the other one is the penile sac, which leads into the male genital pore. Next is the female reproductive system, and this consists of ovaries, oviduct and vagina. There is a single pair of the ovary in the 11th segment. Here you can see an white ribbon shaped structure, isn't it? So this is the ovary. So each ovary will be in the ribbon shaped structure. Now from the ovary arises the oviduct. So there are two oviducts on the either side which joins together to form the common oviduct, and this common oviduct leads to the vagina, which locates in the 11th segment. Since the leech is hermaphrodite, here the internal fertilization takes place and leads to the cocoon formations. This cocoon is nothing but the egg case, and this will be formed around the 9th, 10th and the 11th segments, and this contains 1 to 24 embryos, and the young leech resembles the adult. Next is the parasitic adaptations of leech. This is a very important question. Now here the first point is that the blood is sucked by pharynx, isn't it? Now the second one is that it consists of the anterior and the posterior suckers, isn't it? So which attach itself to the host. Now I said that it consists of 3 jaws, isn't it? So it leaves an Y-shaped incision on the skin of the host. The next one is that it contains a protein called as uridine, which do not coagulate the blood, and the continuous supply of the blood is maintained, and it do not consist of parapodia, that is false leg or setae. So the blood is stored in the crop, and this gives the nourishment for the several months because it is stored in the food, and whenever it is necessary it is sent to the stomach for digestion, and there are no much elaborated digestive juice or the enzymes for digestion. These are the 6 points in the parasitic adaptation of leech, children. Please do copy these 6 points under the heading parasitic adaptation of leech in your classwork, and this is a very important questions, and try to memorize these 6 points. Next we'll see the structural morphology and anatomy of the vertebrate, that is rabbit. The scientific name of the rabbit is Oryctologus cuniculus. The phylum is Chordata, subphylum is Vertebrata, class is Mammalia, order is Lagomorpha, genus is Oryctologus, and the species is Cuniculus. Now we'll see the habitat and the external morphology. Now we know that the rabbits are the gentle and the soft animal, and it is an herbivorous which feeds on grass, vegetables, etc. And the rabbits are gregarious animals, that is it lives in groups or moves in groups. Now it will be cylindrical in shape, the body will be cylindrical in shape, and both the male and the female will have same size, and it grows up to 45 centimeter. The weight will be approximately 2.24 kgs. The color will be sometimes white or the mixture of black and white in color, and the body is covered with fur. This serves to keep the body warm, and the body is divided into head, neck, trunk and tail. The mouth consists of the upper lip and the lower lip. It consists of 2 nostrils, and it consists of the external ear, isn't it, pinna, at the top of the head. The neck connects the head and the trunk, isn't it, and it is movable, isn't it, and the trunk is divided into the thorax and the abdomen, and in female nipples are present between the thorax and the abdomen. Digits contains the claws. Tail is short, and the skin, if you see, it is covered with fur, and it also contains glands such as sweat glands, sebaceous glands and mammary glands, and they secrete milk and nourish the young ones, and the sebaceous glands regulate the body temperature. Now if you see the coelom, body cavity, it is the true coelomate, isn't it, and body is divided into thorax cavity and abdominal cavity. There is a diaphragm, that is, it is a partition, right? The diaphragm is present between these two, and the breathing movement is brought by the movement of this diaphragm. lungs and the heart lies in the thorax cavity, while the abdominal cavity consists of the digestive and the excretory system. Now we'll see about the digestive system in a rabbit. Now this digestive system consists of the alimentary canal and the digestive glands. The alimentary canal consists of the mouth. The digestion starts in the mouth, isn't it? Mouth, buccal cavity, pharynx, esophagus, stomach, that leads to small intestine, cecum, large intestine, and the anus. Now here the mouth consists of the buccal cavity, and the buccal cavity occupies the muscular tongue, jaws that bears the teeth. This buccal cavity leads to esophagus through the pharynx, and now this esophagus leads to the stomach, and from stomach it leads to the small intestine, and cecum is a thin walled sac that is present at the junction of the small intestine and large intestine. You can see here in the picture it is written as cecum, isn't it? So this is the walled sac that is present in between the small intestine and large intestine, and this contains a bacteria which is helpful in the digestion of cellulose. It is animal and it eats lots of cellulose, isn't it? Now this small intestine again leads to or opens into large intestine, which has colon. Here you can see a part which is labeled as colon, isn't it? And that will lead into rectum, and from the rectum the undigested food is excreted through anus. Next we'll see the digestive glands. The digestive glands starts from the mouth. The mouth consists of salivary glands, isn't it? And the stomach consists of the gastric glands, liver, pancreas, intestinal glands are present, and all these secretions of the digestive glands helps the digestion of the cellulose in the alimentary canal. Next we'll see the dentition in rabbit, because teeth plays a very important role in the digestion of the cellulose, especially in the herbivorous animals. Now here the teeth is used to cut, tear and grind the food materials, isn't it? Rabbit consists of two sets of teeth. Since it consists of two sets of teeth, it is called as diffident dentition. The two sets of teeth are called as milk teeth and the permanent teeth. The milk teeth is found in the young ones and the permanent teeth is found in the adult. In rabbit, the arrangement of the teeth is quite different, so this dentition is called as heterodent. Now it consists of four kinds of teeth, the incisors, the canines, premolars and molar. Now you have the formula to express the dental arrangement. Now that is called as the dental formula. Look into the screen, children. Here this gives you the dental formula of the rabbit. Now here in the formula it is written as I, C, PM and M, isn't it? So it denotes the incisor, canines, premolar and molar. Now it is given in fractions, isn't it? So this gives you the number of teeth that is present in the upper and the lower jaw. Now for example, incisors, there are two in the upper and one at the lower. This dental formula can also be written as 2033 divided by 1023. You can see in the picture, isn't it? Now here the canines are absent. You can see in the formula, isn't it? C consists of 0 by 0 fraction, isn't it? So the canines are absent. So there is a gap between the incisors and the premolar. So and that is called as diastema. And this helps in the chewing of the food, especially in the herbivorous animals. Next we are going to see the respiratory system of rabbit. Now this respiratory system consists of a pair of lungs, isn't it? And the lungs are present in the thoracic cavity, and the lower side of the thoracic cavity consists of the diaphragm. Now here each lung is enclosed by a membrane, that is the outermost membrane, that is double membrane, which is called as the pleura. Air passes from the nostril into the pharynx, isn't it? Thus, pharynx leads to the larynx, which is called as the voice box, which again leads to trachea or the windpipe. Beneath the larynx, you have the trachea. Now, this trachea is nothing but the windpipe. Look into the picture, children. The trachea consists of the rings of cartilage, isn't it? So, this helps in the free passage of air. And the epiglottis prevents the entry of the food into the trachea. And the trachea divides into two branches. You can see here on the either side bronchi, isn't it? So, this trachea leads to the two branches which is called as the bronchi. On entering into these each lungs, it is further divided. This bronchi is further divided into bronchioles. Each end of the bronchioles consists of alveoli. The respiration consists of inspiration and expiration. Inspiration in the sense breathing in of oxygen, and expiration is nothing but the giving out or breathing out of carbon dioxide. Now the next is the circulatory system. The circulatory system of the rabbit consists of blood vessels and heart. Now let's see the structure of heart. Now this heart is present in the thoracic cavity, and these are enclosed by a membrane, that is the outermost covering, which is called as the pericardium. The four-chambered heart is present in the rabbit. It consists of two auricles and two ventricles. The right and the left auricles are separated by the interauricular septum. Now similarly, you have the left and the right ventricle, isn't it? And these are separated by the interventricular septum. The right auricle opens into the right ventricle, isn't it? Now there you have the aperture, which is called as the auriculoventricular aperture, and this consists of the tricuspid valve. Similarly, the left auricle opens into the left ventricle, and there comes the aperture, auriculoventricular aperture, and this consists of the bicuspid valve. Deoxygenated blood comes to the right auricle by the two superior vena cava vein and one inferior vena cava vein from all parts of the body. Now here the left ventricle receives the oxygenated blood from the pulmonary vein, and that will be from the lungs because it is oxygenated blood. From the right ventricle, the pulmonary trunk carries the deoxygenated blood to the lungs to get oxygenated, and from the left ventricle, oxygenated blood is carried to all parts of the body. Next, we'll see the nervous system in rabbit. The nervous system in rabbit consists of the central nervous system, peripheral nervous system, and autonomic nervous system. Now, this central nervous system consists of brain and the spinal cord. Peripheral nervous system consists of 12 pairs of cranial nerves and 37 pairs of spinal nerves. The autonomic nervous system contains the sympathetic and parasympathetic nerves. Now look into the picture, children. Here you can see the brain of the rabbit, and it is present in the cranial cavity inside the skull, isn't it? It is covered by three membranes. The outer membrane is called as the dura mater, the inner one is called as the pia mater, the middle one is called as the organoid membrane. The brain is divided into forebrain, midbrain, and the hindbrain. The forebrain consists of olfactory lobes, cerebral hemispheres, and diencephalon. Look into the picture, children. There are two hemispheres, isn't it? That is, two cerebral hemispheres are connected by a bundle of nerve system which is called as the corpus callosum. The midbrain consists of optic lobes, and when you see the hindbrain, it consists of cerebellum, pons, medulla oblongata. Next is the male reproductive system of rabbit. Now this is a very important question. This is often asked in the 4-mark questions or sometimes in the 7-mark question. Now here the male reproductive system consists of a pair of testes. You can see in the picture, isn't it? It consists of a pair of testes which will be in an oval shape, and these are enclosed by a sac which is called as the testal sacs, and each testis in the inner part consists of a numerous tube-like structure which is called as seminiferous tubules, tubes, networks of tubes which is called as the seminiferous tubules, and these seminiferous tubules again leads into a final tube which is called as the epididymis. This epididymis leads to the sperm duct which is called as the vas deferens, in which the sperms are stored. Now this vas deferens joins the urethra, again it comes back to the urinary bladder, and the urethra runs back and again it will pass through the penis. Now there are three important glands that is present, that is the prostate gland, Cooper gland and the perineal glands, and these are involved in the reproduction process. Next is the female reproductive system of rabbit. Now this female reproductive system of rabbit consists of a pair of ovaries which are oval in shape, and these are located behind the kidneys. You can see here, isn't it, in the picture? And there are pair of oviducts that arises from each of the ovaries, and this leads into the fallopian tube. This leads to uterus. The uterus joins together to form a middle tube like structure which is called as the vagina. Now there is a common tube between the urinary bladder and the vagina, isn't it? So that is called as the urinogenital canal. The accessory glands that is present in the reproductive system of rabbit is the Cooper gland and the perineal gland, and this involves in the reproduction process. With this we come to the end of the lesson, children. Here in this lesson we saw the external morphology of the rabbit. Next we saw the various systems that like digestive system, circulatory system, excretory system, reproductive system and the respiratory system. Similarly we saw the circulatory system, nervous system, male reproductive system and female reproductive system of rabbit, isn't it? Now here from this lesson, the male reproductive system of rabbit, the parasitic adaptations of the leech and the dentition formula that we have seen for the rabbit are very, very important. So please do write these questions. I once again repeat, the dentition in the rabbit, male reproductive system of rabbit and parasitic adaptation of the leech is very, very important. So write these questions in your classwork and submit the classwork in the school office on Friday, and it will be corrected and given back to you. In another session, children. Thank you.